Earlier this year, I wholesaled a house in Idaho to a rehabber who fixed it up and just sold it to a retail buyer for $370,000. The homeowner got a beautiful home. I made $5,000 as a wholesaler for an hour of work, and the rehabber who completely transformed the house made almost $60,000 in profit. A win-win-win for everyone. God, I love this business. On this video, I want to share with you the before and after transformation on this rehab and break down on all the numbers so that you can see what it looks like to fix and flip and make the big bucks. All that and more coming up.
This video is brought to you by 10K Club, a program that pays you $10,000 for finding ugly houses. Learn more at my10kcheck.com.
If you're new here, my name is Jerry Norton, and I've been a full-time real estate investor now for almost 18 years. Amongst other things, I specialize in flipping houses all across the country, and I've helped thousands of new investors get into the game of flipping and create six-figure and even seven-figure income. If you want to learn how to flip houses so you can live your dream life, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. If you're just a wholesaler, then I hope this video inspires you and excites you to consider adding fix and flip to your business. There is something magical about taking an ugly, dilapidated house that is an eyesore and nobody wants, then fixing it up and making it beautiful that everybody wants. That process is extremely satisfying and rewarding, especially getting paid a lot to do so. Now, if you're a fix and flipper, I hope this video gives you ideas on what to look for and things you can do to add value. I found this deal and wholesaled it to my friend and fellow flipper, Al Kirby, who also helps me do coaching calls and some of my training programs. So some of you know Coach Al. He did a great job on this flip and has agreed to let me share it with you on this video. In a minute, we'll cut to the before and after transformation so you can see it firsthand, but let's break down the numbers. First, from the closing on the purchase to the closing on the resale was about 6 months or so, which is a typical time frame for a rehab project like this, especially in today's environment when there is a shortage in labor and materials. The original purchase contract with the seller was $215,000. The closing cost for the buyer on the purchase came to $1,429, which is typical for a $215,000 purchase. That covered the closing fee, prorations, recording fees, etc. The assignment fee was $5,000. Now, I was the wholesaler, so that's what I got paid for finding and securing the deal. As a side note, I spent less than 1 hour on this deal. Now, I did a video all about it, including the call with the seller and also a call with the cash buyer, Al Kirby. It's a super popular video here on my channel with like 350,000 views. Now, I'll put the link in the description below if you want to check it out. So the total acquisition cost came to $221,429. Next is the rehab. That total cost came to approximately $45,000, and what's fascinating is that $45,000 increased the value by $150,000. That's more than 3 times the return. Well done, Coach Al. Now, Al is a pro. I've known him a long time, and he knows where to spend the money and not spend the money to get the biggest return. So be sure to watch this full video. I know it's a long video. Watch the full video so that you can see it for yourself. Now, the total capital that it took to buy and renovate this property came to $266,429, but that's not all you need to factor. There are 2 other big soft costs to consider and factor into the deal. First is the carrying cost or financing. Now, Al follows what I teach and use, and that's private investors to fund his deals. On this project, his total carrying cost came to $20,142, which is 5.4% of the sale price. Now, I usually budget 6%, so that's right in line. Next is commissions and closing costs on the sale, which came to $24,870 or 6.7% of the sale price. I usually budget like 8 or 9%, so he came in under on that. And since the sale price was $370,000, after you subtract all of the hard costs and soft costs, his net profit came to $58,560. Now that's a great deal. So now what I want to do is cut to a complete transformation. First, you're going to see a walkthrough of the property before starting the rehab. Al is going to share what things to look for when looking at distressed properties. Then we're going to cut to a few clips where you can see the progress and then a final walkthrough after it's complete and staged. Now, I'll be honest, the footage is on a smartphone and it's a little shaky because Al's walking around, but the content is really good, and I strongly encourage you to watch the whole video so that you can see what he did to turn this $220,000 house into a $370,000 house with a $45,000 budget. Let's cut to the transformation.
Hey everyone, this is Coach Al. I'm standing in front of a house that just closed on this week, and this house looks pretty rough from the outside. We're going to walk up closer and take a wander through it. You guys get an idea of some of the things we see when we look at some of these distressed homes. First thing I notice is, and you may be able to see it in the picture, is you can see that the soffit there is sort of hanging down. But one of the good things to notice is that this is actual wood siding. So even though it's in bad condition, a paint job will go a long ways. There's actually shiplap is what's on this particular property. It's built in 1978. And of course all this shrubbery and things will have to be removed. Typical 1970s kind of thing. We got a little half wall there. There's no actual lights in this room, which is another thing to observe. We'll have to add a light fixture there. Here's the dining room. And the configuration of this house is a little funky. There's a hallway. It has sconces on the side. We have a first bedroom. And the first bedroom actually houses the furnace. Even though there's gas in this neighborhood, this is actually an electric furnace, a very old electric furnace. And we have a nice bathroom here. One of the fun things about the bathroom is they've got carpet on the floor. And this is a 3/4 bath. Strange as it is, there's only a tub and no shower surround. So that's something we'll have to take care of. We'll be putting a full tub shower in there. Typical built-ins at the end of the hallway of the era. Second bedroom. Master bedroom here. And master bedroom looks out the back of the house, and it's got a 3/4 bath in here. And interesting, it's got wood paneling on the ceiling, which will come down. And this shower is a nice, beautiful old yellow shower that's in really ugly condition. It probably would clean up, but it's yellow and not gonna fly very high, so we'll either need to get this painted or we'll need to have it replaced. So there's an old yellow toilet, which we'll be replacing with a newer style one that has less water usage. You'll notice cover plates and things are all the old almond. Most of those will be replaced to be new white ones. This is the living part of the house. We're going to move into, this is the dining room again. We'll move into the kitchen here. Nice chocolate brown cupboards. Fluorescent lights in the ceiling. Brown countertops. Cabinets are actually not in too bad a condition, and we're anticipating being able to paint these cabinets and put new hardware on them. We're going to have to do some modification over here because there's the range, and we'll need to be able to put a microwave above, and there's not quite enough space for a microwave. The same is true for the refrigerator opening. Even though we will not be putting a fridge in, we'll need to remove that upper cabinet because most modern refrigerators will go much higher than that. They're going to run into that top cabinet there. Nice large laundry area here. You can see a room for washer, dryer, cabinet. We got a water heater in the back here. Here's the electric water heater. This doorway enters the garage. And interesting, you look back here, here's the kitchen. There's the dining room through that opening right there. And then here is the family room. And somebody has put shiplap on the walls. This steps down. If you notice, there's a step here. You can see that. And then there's a wood stove in the corner and rock around it. And that doorway right there is to the back, out to the back patio. This particular ceiling, you'll notice it's the acoustic ceiling from the era. This has not been painted, which is a good thing because that means it's easily removed by getting it wet and scraping it off. It is ceiling that house was built in 78, so there's no chance of it being asbestos based, so we don't have to worry about that. And there's no lead paint in the house because it's pre-78. But definitely we'll be cleaning this wall up, return it to drywall. We're going to be removing the paneling over here and returning that to drywall. We may leave this shiplap wall here as an accent wall. We'll paint it an accent color. That's what this house looks like. And there's a couple things, other things that I'll point out here. As you walk in the front door, above you, if you notice the color change in the ceiling, there's water damage there. There's clearly been water leakage through there, and somebody has either tried to patch it, whether it's current leak or whether it's leak from the past, hard to know. But we'll be having to get into that, and at a minimum we have to repair the drywall because it's sagging badly. So we'll at least have to patch that up some way. The other thing that is of interest in terms of leakage is we have an active water leak in the bathroom. In this first bathroom, notice the hole in the ceiling, and it's actually actively leaking on the top of the toilet here. And this is probably not from the roof. It is probably from one of the pipe vents out the top of the roof, but we don't know yet. I've got to get up on the roof. It's been wet and frozen here from the very first time. I did crawl the attic, but was not able to identify anything obvious in the attic when I was up there. So let's take a look in the backyard and just take a quick look around there. Actually, let's take a look in the garage first. So garage, we got a new garage door on its way. And so this old wood door and closer will be replaced, and we'll be painting the walls. We'll be just doing a quick single coat out here just to clean it up and make it look nice. And now we'll take a look in the backyard. Definitely be some things to do out in the backyard. There's some signs of previous or current water leakage going on here on the back patio, and we'll show you that here in a second. If you look up, you can see the sagging of the paneling on the back patio, and that's because it's been wet at some point in time. So we'll be taking care of that. And again, looking at the back of the house, just like the front of the house, it looks pretty rough, but this is wood-based siding. It's not particle board. This is actual wood paneling, old plywood wood paneling. So once we pressure wash this and repaint it, it's going to look really good. That tree is a problem. It's growing right next to the foundation. We'll be removing that tree. And you can see the trees or other trees here in the yard are in pretty rough condition. Certainly be cutting the branches off on this one. This little outbuilding here, we're going to do minimal amount to that, but it is a nice room, so we'll have to decide what we're going to do with that. Here is a nice bunch of junk stacked up against the house that will all have to be cleared out and removed. That piece of fencing will be replaced. So, but this is pretty typical of the kind of houses you get when you're doing this kind of work. All right, so I'm back in the house now, and I'm just standing here looking at the kitchen. This house definitely is going to need some work, but we're going to do things that we need to do to update it to satisfy the current market. The current market's very hot in this market, and there's not a lot of inventory, so we have to be careful not to do too much. We're trying to optimize our returns, so we want to do enough that we don't have any issues selling it, and yet we don't want to do so much that we don't get return on each dollar that we spend. If we only get dollar for dollar back on our expenditures, we're not making any money. So we need to be able to do things that will return more than dollar for dollar. So it's something to be thinking about. As the market changes, you certainly have to be more conscious of how you rehab and what amount of rehab you do. And we're going to be starting on this thing on Monday and getting a crew out here to do demo, and I'm going to keep you guys updated and as we go through this project. I wanted to do a review of this roof, just informationally. So the first thing I'm always checking on a roof is to see whether it's a single layer or double layer, and it's not always easy to tell because sometimes they do this. You'll see here, this is the original D-metal of the first roof that was installed. Drip edge or D-metal, you hear it referred to both ways. And then you see this is overlaid over top, and it actually covers the first layer of roofing. And you can't really see it easily here, but you can see that it goes quite a ways back there. And this is actually sort of a U-shaped piece that covers over top of the edge of the old roofing and covers the D-metal. And then the new roofing goes on top of it, as you see. So you can tell very quickly with this big fat edge here, this is very clearly a re-roof. The thing to note about this roof is it is a fairly low-pitched roof. And whenever you have a fairly low-pitched roof, you often end up with areas like this. So it may be hard to tell, but if you zoom in on this area right here, you can see that it is nearly flat at the edge of the roof. So as water runs down in this area, instead of dripping off into the gutter, it wicks back underneath the roofing, and it's rotten on the eaves underneath this area roofing here because it's too flat. So you got to be really careful on this edge, and when you're looking at a house, whenever you see rotten eaves, it's usually because you have a roofing issue like this where water's wicking back under your roofing, going into the soffit and eave area and rotting it out. So there's this area here, and there's another area on the back of this same house that's actually much worse. It's at the base of the valley on the back side here. You can actually see the dirty water area right along this area right here. This is all reverse pitched, almost level, if not back into the house. And underneath the patio roof here, all of it is rotten because of the water going underneath. Another thing that I noticed, we had an active leak inside the house during a rainstorm the other day, and this is a bit more subtle. I usually am looking for boots like this. This rubber will often split on these plumbing vents, and you'll see them split sometimes and water leaking in there. These are actually all okay. But as I started looking in the area of the leak is near these two vents here. And it's not obvious, but if you look closely, you'll see that the shingles have a seam. There's a joint between shingles right here. And if you look closely, you can actually see the top edge of this flashing right in here. And I don't know that you can see it. But what's happening is the moisture is running down the roof. It's hitting this seam, and instead of popping out on top of the sheet metal and running around like it's supposed to, it actually catches that edge. You may be able to see that edge there now. There's a better picture of it probably. And it catches that edge. There's that, and it goes underneath that piece of sheet metal. And when it goes underneath that piece of sheet metal, it goes right in the hole for this vent. So there is the roof leak that I have, and it's been leaking ever since this roof was redone about 15 years ago. So I don't know what the situation is going to be inside the attic. It's pretty hard to see this inside the attic because it's very close. It's very close to the edge of the roof, and since this roof is such a low pitch, there's not very much room to crawl out here. There's probably only a foot or two above the insulation right here where this vent is. So anyways, that's the roof review on this particular property. We do have a couple of areas where the shingles have separated along the edge. Let me go look at this one out here. I'll show you where it is simply separated. And so we'll be able to easily slide a new shingle in there and repair that area roofing. You guys will notice that we've done a little more probably than we planned on doing. So let's go in and see what it looks like. So there is the front door appearance from the front door. And as you can see, this used to be this is the living room. And there used to be a wall there. And there used to be a wall here. And there was an entryway over here into a dining room. And then there was a kitchen that you entered into right here, and it was an enclosed kitchen with a drop ceiling. And you can see that now it's not an enclosed kitchen, and it does not have a drop ceiling. Popcorn ceilings. These were commonly put on in the 60s and 70s, and I think they also called it acoustic ceilings, but one of the challenges is they're really hard to patch. So if you ever have any repairs to do on these ceilings, it's almost impossible to patch them. So it's common, at least in my market, to remove these. If they have not been painted, they're fairly easy to remove. And we'll show you how here in a second. And I'll describe here what you need to do, and that is to soak it, either with a pump sprayer, or even you can bring a garden hose in with a spray nozzle on the end. I'm using my airless paint sprayer with a bucket of water. And I'm saturating it, and then we'll look and see how easy it is to scrape off afterwards. So let's take you can see here an area that's been cleared already, but here's what you want to do is just take your paint, some kind of form to put water. So once that's saturated and soaked in, let's take a drywall knife in the area where that you've soaked and gotten wet, and this stuff literally just scrapes off. So now that's clean, and you can have a drywall tape and texture guy come in and refinish that. So it is literally that simple to just wet it and then scrape it. So figured that would be useful to some who may be dealing with this. That's how you can clear off the acoustic ceilings. And as I've already talked to you guys about, we had some really badly settled or sagging soffits here on this particular area. And this is a good look at the back of the roof. This is what happens when a roof is not done properly and you end up with leakage, especially when it's bleeding through back in the soffit. It's had so much moisture in her over the years, it's wicked back up way up into the roof, and I have rotten sheets of plywood now. And again, this is pretty typical of what you're going to see whenever you've got soffits that are in poor condition. This is often the case where you've got rotten underlayment now because it's been leaking for so long. And so this is all related to the D-metal being improperly installed and long-term leak. You get a good idea of how it's been leaking and what it does to the roof. So let's take a look here. This back room, you guys will remember it had shiplap on that wall. There was a stove or a fireplace stove right there. So we removed that. We tore all the brick off the wall. This is ready for drywall right now. You'll see drywall sitting here. The hangers will be here tomorrow. And now let's turn and look back at what used to be the kitchen. The fridge and the range were on this wall right there. And that was a wall continuous across there about where that post is right now. And then this was a drop ceiling. You can see the perimeter of the old drop ceiling. So we moved the kitchen. The kitchen is now going to be in this where the old dining room used to be. And we're going to have refridge, range, and countertops. And then the kitchen sink will be right here in the island. As you can see, the plumbing rough in is right here. We had to do a bunch of electrical. We have this wall here that's going to have a cap on the top. This will be a large island here with a countertop that will stick out for people to use a bar stool on. This is the end of the kitchen on the other wall. So I'll take a second here, and this is a trussed attic, and as you can see, the truss is right here. You see the ends of those trusses. None of the interior walls were actually load bearing, but the house was not correctly constructed when it was built. And so this entire ceiling here, as you see these trusses, they're all meeting the rest of the house perpendicular. These are the main house trusses going crosswise, and then you have these trusses from the garage and the back part of the house meeting perpendicular. There was no support underneath this at all, and there should have been either a load-bearing wall or a header of some description, but there was nothing. And so we added a header across there. As you can see the header right here, this is an LVL. We put a post here to support the load on that end, and we put a post here to support the load on this end. A lot more work than we planned on doing, but it was in really rough condition. The ceiling had sagged about 2 inches here in the center relative to the rest of the roof, and so we had to make that repair. But now, as you come into this house, you see a big open space instead of a bunch of walls. You can see where the wall was there, and the other wall went right along here. And so now the island will come out to about here, the back of the island, and then this is completely open space, little dining room area here. Garage door is right there, laundry is there, and then this is this nice great room. You can see that we raised the floor already, so that's now even here. We're going to be putting LVP, laminate flooring in here when we're done. We'll quickly walk down the hallway. The only other major changes that have been made is we have set the shower and the tub in the bathrooms. And as you can see, there's a new tub with a full surround. And you'll notice that when you do that, you end up with some drywall repair, just because you have to physically be able to get those panels in. Vanity is currently out. Will be repaired there behind it and new vanity installed. Here's the back shower. As you can see, this one, I guess there's no light in here anymore. And there is, this shower now has been installed. Nice new surround. We have prepped here, new electrical here. Here's the old vanity location. We had to do some patching in the floor here. You see the OSB right here next to the particle board. There was a lot of water damage in this area, and we needed to have good support along the edge of the shower there. So there's where we're at, and next time you guys see this, we'll be drywalled and painted. So that's the next major step. Drywall's happening this week. Painting will happen the week following, and I'll be trying to do an update then. As you can see, we got some landscaping started on the front here. Those trees are gone. Don't quite have the outside painted yet, but that will be happening in the near future. All right. As you can see, we've got some walls painted. We've got some flooring down, and the kitchen is installed. So if you guys remember, there used to be a wall right across here directly in front of me. And now it's open, and you can see the kitchen where the fridge and the range will be going. Kitchen sink will be immediately in front of me here. Pantry is right there. This is sort of the dining room I'm standing in. And then this back room, if you guys recall, had some new drywall on, and then we've got a little accent wall on the end here. We got part of our lighting has been done. As you can see, half of them are cool and half of them are warm. Here's the garage door into the garage. Here is the laundry room. And as you can see, all of these cabinets that are here were painted. And I put new hardware on them. We'll be getting a new countertop on that. As you can see a little bit of the floor in here. It's a good view of the floor. We also got new lights up here. All right, let's wander on down the hallway here. Again, back looking at the kitchen. And you see the new wall sconces. I don't have the glass on them yet, but wall sconces in the hallway, and you'll see that the carpet is also in place. So there we are with carpet. Here's the first bedroom. There's the crawl hole there. And here's the bathroom. Now don't worry, that's not where that toilet goes. It just happens to be where it's sitting right now. It was removed for the flooring to go in. There's where it goes. And we'll get in here and turn around so you can see the new vanity. And I don't have anything else in yet, but the vanity's there, installed. There's the new tub and surround with new paint. You'll see all the doors have been rehung with new hardware. There's the front bedroom. Not very exciting. And then we'll go in the master suite here. Again, you can see that the walls have all been painted. The carpet is down. And then let's take a peek in the master bathroom. Here we go. So there's the master bathroom. There's the new shower installed. And here is the vanity. As you can see, it's just like the one on the other side here. Got a spot for the toilet there. New vanity lighting. Here you will see a very old heater and exhaust fan, and I actually repainted the grill on that as opposed to taking it out and replacing it. It was sort of a unique one with a bunch of wiring that we didn't want to have to completely take out. We've got baseboards still to go down in the common area here. You'll notice it's not up around here. We have granite and quartz due to show up for the island and the countertops here in the next week or so. We're going to have some can lighting to go in the ceiling here. We didn't put it in before, but we'll be putting it in probably in a couple of days. And the rest of that will get, the rest of the electrical could get finished out. All right, that's an update. Thanks. It's time for a final update on this property that I've been working on flipping. So we're going to do a walkthrough. As you guys can see, we've got, it's all painted. We've got gravel on the right-hand driveway. We've got sod down in the front yard. Let's go inside and see what it looks like. Here's the front room. There's a new kitchen. A lot of natural light in here with that window. You guys may remember this room was sunken before. There was a wood stove right there. As you can see now, it's completely open concept. You just scroll back around, we can see out the front. This area where the table is used to be the kitchen. So carpet starting at the hallway. And here's the bathroom. Front bedroom. Secondary bedroom. And then the master bedroom. And master bathroom. All right, that finishes up the walkthrough. You guys get an idea of what we've done to the property. All right, thanks for watching.